tell you what, if you don't know about Islam, it is the most disgusting cult out. We're kicking all the Muslims out of the mosques and serving them into Witherspoons.
Alright folks, this is Harris Sultan, and I have to say that they're doing everything they can to destroy the mainstream political parties. And by they, I mean the media, the politicians, and pretty much the entire status quo. They're demonstrating to us how people get sick of the status quo and look for something radically different. I've said it before in my earlier videos that we are living in the age of reality TV. People care less about your sexual preferences, your skin color, your language, whether you've been with a porn star or not, whether you made fun of a disabled person in the heat of the moment, or the personal views of your political campaign's volunteers. They don't care about these things as much as they care about the narrative, the sentiment, or what you actually stand for. They kept attacking Trump as though he was a normal politician. They thought that embarrassing him publicly would destroy him, but that didn't happen. They're still doing it, and he's becoming more and more popular. They're gobsmacked. They're asking themselves, why something that could have destroyed any president or politician isn't destroying Trump? So instead of changing their strategy or their tactics, they increase their attacks on him. They think that showing Trump's questionable language will make his supporters distance themselves from him, but instead, he becomes more popular. And now they're doing exactly the same thing with Nigel Farage. I'm going to talk about this, but before we go further, I have to tell you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like me to continue making awesome videos like these, then you can support me on patreon.com/Harris Sultan or buymeacoffee.com/Harris Sultan. And if you can't, then that's okay. Just like and share. That'll do. So let's get to today's video. So Channel 4 just did a massive expose on the Reform Party and Nigel Farage by secretly filming a volunteer at his political campaign who was caught using, I have to say, terrible language towards Sunak and migrants.
Yeah, I've always been a Tory voter. What annoys me is the he got in. What's good is he? You tell me, he's just wet. What, Sunak?
But they're still playing by the old rules. They think that maligning your political opponent will make people forget the narrative of that politician and they will abandon him. They can also see that no such sting operations are done on mainstream parties like the Tories or Labour. Why? Because political parties attract people who hold similar sentiments but are on different ends of the spectrum. But as I said, we are living in a different world. They don't care as much as they care about the policies of the candidate. I guess as a society, we have become more carefree. We used to hold our politicians to a higher standard, but people have learned that it's not realistic. If Obama doesn't say anything inappropriate, it's not because he doesn't have inappropriate thoughts. It's because it's a charade. It's because he is good at hiding his inappropriate thoughts. Maligning your political opponents is an old strategy that doesn't work in the reality TV world we live in. The more you attack these outsider populists, the more popular they become. I think this is how systems change. This is how political parties that were once so dominant go extinct. What happened to the National Republican Party or the Democratic Republican Party of the 18th and 19th centuries in America? It happened in other countries too. Where's the Indian National Congress these days? For almost 5 decades, ruling India. Today, it's becoming more and more irrelevant with each passing decade. The point is, the world changed, and the same old tactics and rhetoric they had been using to beat their opponents slowly became ineffective. Today, all of these parties are long gone except for the Indian National Congress, but it is fast becoming extinct. I think it'll be gone by the middle of this century. You know, when Julius Caesar overthrew the Roman Republic, people were sick and tired of the Republic and its democracy. They were okay with a dictator taking over. There are people in many countries who would rather be ruled by a king or a dictator than have the status quo democracy that doesn't listen to them. We think that, and I believe it too, that since democracy is such a supreme form of governance, people will always stick by it. But once our governments start giving off the impression that they're not listening to the people, then people will start to look elsewhere. And that's what's happening today. People are sick of career politicians. They don't care if Obama is clean cut and never speaks out of line, whereas Trump can say many unfiltered things. They don't care about that. Clearly. So you can keep doing your politics the old way and we'll keep watching you go towards extinction. This is exactly what Channel 4 has done. They recorded a volunteer in Nigel Farage's political campaign saying atrocious things. He himself admitted that he's a racist, and I have no doubt that he is. But why am I saying that this is not going to hurt Nigel Farage at all? Because people don't really care how someone expresses their sentiments.
You've got DL11 here, and a place near Dover, army recruitment. Get the young recruits there, yeah, with guns on the beach, target practice. Just shoot them. That's what the Greeks done. You know about that, you know, the Greeks shot us.
Look at the Australians. They wanted none of it.
I just think ring fence Bradford Stone round and just do that.
I was like,
You've got these bastards running our country. You must be joking, mate.
I share the same sentiment as this person, not to shoot migrants, but I share the sentiments that Britain and other Western countries should control their borders. Everyone attracted to reform's agenda holds pretty much the same sentiment on migrants. Yes, sophisticated people will express that sentiment differently. We all know that reform's stance will attract some radicals who are on the racist end of the spectrum. But there is another end of the spectrum where genuine people genuinely believe that Britain should control its borders. Islamism is a problem. Mosques teach extremism. We all share the sentiment. Are we all racist? Am I racist towards my own race? No. People who hold this sentiment support Nigel Farage, and they think that the other parties don't care about their concerns. This is why this expose will not damage Nigel Farage. I've been listening to the reaction of many reform supporters, and they're all saying that, yeah, that's very crude. I condemn that, but I will still support Nigel Farage because this guy's loose tongue doesn't diminish the fact that Britain has a serious migrant crisis to deal with. Britain has a serious Islamism issue. Boycotting Farage is not going to make those problems go away, nor will the current mainstream political parties do anything about it. Moreover, the main character of this expose, Andrew John Parker, has turned out to be an actor. His resume says that he's a well-spoken guy but can't portray many characters. So who knows if he's putting on a character here. He also specializes in secret filming, as shown in his own resume. So was this a setup? I wouldn't say it with any certainty, but people who share Nigel Farage's sentiment and millions of other Brits who think that their borders should be protected will probably believe it to be a setup. They're also asking why Channel 4 did not do a similar sting operation or a secret filming of a Labour campaign. As I said, people these days care more about what you're selling rather than how you're selling it. In my mind, this is how people operate now. There's no debate on this. I'm sure if you secretly filmed Labour's campaigners, activists, or even candidates, you'd find an anti-Semitic comment here or there because most of them are pro-Palestine. If you secretly filmed a Tory campaigner, you'd find them making crude remarks towards trans people. This is why, in this world, language no longer seems to matter much. What matters is what you stand for. So this is why I think that the status quo politicians and media keep using the same tactics of attacking a popular outsider politician and don't get anything in return. I can guarantee you that if tomorrow we found out that Nigel Farage had an affair with his neighbor's wife, nobody would care because people have no other alternatives. Their concerns and problems are still there and they don't see any mainstream political parties addressing them. I am not necessarily saying that this new culture is a good thing. In fact, I actually worry about it because it could lead us to electing a real fascist. If we keep going the way of our mainstream political parties, then don't be surprised if people genuinely elect a fascist dictator because history has taught us that when democracy doesn't deliver, people don't shy away from looking up to a strongman dictator. Earlier this month, I made a video on Trump. Check this one out or check this video out instead. So until next time, ta-da. If you'd like to support my work, you can become my patron by going to patreon.com/Harris Sultan, or you can simply buy me a coffee.